I came across this article called 19 Frugal Hacks That Save You Money, and some of them are really good, but others you should avoid, the same way you avoid that cashier you went to high school with. In this video, I'm gonna rate all 19 of these frugal hacks on two things: convenience and effectiveness, because there's no point in doing them if they're not gonna be easy to implement into your life, or if they don't actually save you a lot of money. Both of these factors we're gonna rate on a scale of 0 to 5 stars, and my editor is gonna make this awesome graphic right here. Shout out to Adarsh. But by the end of this video, you're gonna know which are the top 5 and which 5 you should completely avoid. Hack number 1, cut your own hair. I'd say we're starting off this list pretty strong because I actually do this one. I haven't paid for a haircut in like 8 years. But realistically, is this convenient for most people? Definitely not, especially for the first 6 months. It takes a while to start getting used to, working around your head and using the mirrors, and if you do mess up, you could end up looking like the owner of the Las Vegas Raiders. But once you do get your clippers and learn from your mistakes, you'll be saving as much as me, which is around $300 a year. So convenience, 1 star, effectiveness, 4 stars. But maybe don't try this one right before a job interview. Hack 2, hang dry your clothes. This one's not bad. Your dryer is basically a tiny furnace running in your house, and if you know anything about electric usage, whenever you have to heat something up, be the air in your dryer or the water in your dishwasher, it's gonna jack up your electric bill by a lot. So hang drying your clothes can save you a lot of money, and it'll help your clothes last longer in the end. The only downside to hang drying is that you need room for it. Unless you have a big backyard with a clothesline, or your home is just that spacious, you're probably gonna have just clothes hanging everywhere and it's gonna look like a laundromat. So if you live in an apartment or a smaller home, convenience is probably a 1, but effectiveness is a 3. Clip them coupons. Okay, this is pretty classic frugal advice. Sometimes I'll keep those Burger King coupons from the mail, but typically I end up forgetting about them, or they're just never on hand when I'm actually out and about to dine out. Out and about to dine out. Sounds like a Dr. Seuss book. So actually using coupons consistently might not be the most practical, and if I'm being honest here, coupons sometimes lead us to buying things that we weren't actually planning on buying. But because now we have this access to a sale, now we're considering buying this thing that we never even considered before. So for convenience, I'd rate this hack at 2 stars, and for effectiveness, probably just 2 stars as well. But if you're a couponer and you want to educate me, please let me know in the comments how we can make this more convenient and more effective. Hack 4, grow your own vegetables. Okay, this is where I start to disagree a little bit with the article. When it comes to gardening, I don't really view it as a frugal hack, but more like a hobby that will sometimes yield a fruit or vegetable every now and then. If you haven't done this before and you don't have any of the tools, you're gonna spend a lot of money up front to get the soil, fertilizer, tools, and even the space to start gardening. Plus, this hobby does take up a lot of time, and there are a lot of factors that you need to consider in order to make this a fruitful experience. No pun intended. But don't get me wrong, growing vegetables is awesome. I'd love to do it in the future when we have a home, and if it's your hobby and you genuinely do enjoy it, then I think it's definitely worth the money, and you can have some great, fresh, and healthy food. But as a money-saving hack, I wouldn't be able to generally say that this is a good one for you guys to start. So for convenience, I'm putting this at 0 stars and effectiveness at 1 star. And if you're a gardener, feel free to roast me in the comments. Once again, we're here to learn together. Hack 5, rent or borrow instead of buy. Okay, now we're getting to some better hacks. This is such an easy one, and it's something we often don't think about doing. I remember growing up in Florida, we would always have hurricane season, and it would be very common for there to be a downed tree right on our front yard. We weren't in carpentry or any construction business, so we didn't have the tools to take apart this tree and haul it off our lawn. But instead of going straight to the Home Depot and buying a brand new chainsaw, we had some great neighbors and friends who offered to let us borrow theirs. I think often, especially in 2025, we're too afraid to ask for help or to even lend a helping hand. I think this one is great, especially when it comes to building, your community around you, and also to save money. So convenience, 3 stars, effectiveness, 4 stars. Take advantage of free stuff. And when I think about free stuff, I'm also thinking about free events and free activities. Like last week, my wife and I went to a free outdoor movie in our town. It was a great evening activity that cost $0. We just brought a picnic blanket and watched The Goonies. Like, so chill, cost us nothing, and you guys should take advantage of whatever events you have in your towns. I can see Facebook events being a great place to go, Google events, and just your local library. That's a great place to see what's happening in your community because a lot of organizations are always doing stuff for free. We just don't take advantage of it as often as we should. So for this hack, I'll put convenience at 4 stars and effectiveness also at 4 stars. You might be thinking I'm being a little strict here, but there are hacks later in this video that will get 5 stars across both categories. And by the way, there's another free activity that you can do right now, and that is subscribing to the channel and hitting the like button. It costs $0 and helps the YouTube algorithm push more videos like this so that we can attract more of our frugal rich community. Was that a smooth plug? All right, let's keep going with the video. Hack number 7, DIY your house projects. If you've been watching these videos, you know I'm all about learning new skills, but you should also know your limits here. When it comes to big home projects like kitchen remodels or complicated plumbing or electricity repairs, it probably makes more sense to bring in the pros if you have 0 experience. Like, you might end up saving some money, but at what cost? How long is it gonna take you to finish the project, and how much is your spouse willing to take of you trying to DIY everything? You gotta factor in these things because yes, a simple repair like fixing a leaky faucet or patching drywall is doable and a decent way to save money, but it won't save you a ton still. So I'm giving this hack a 2 stars for convenience and 2 stars for effectiveness. And for me personally, I'm staying away from most electrical work right now because of that clip from Home Alone. Hack 8, repair instead of replace. The article mentions some guy who threw away his entire coffee maker because the pot cracked. Like, dude, you could have just got a new pot. I think sometimes we forget replacement parts are actually a thing. So this one is really about changing your mindset. Before you just toss something, ask yourself, can this be fixed? And a lot of times the answer is yes. It may not be the easiest route, but it's probably gonna be cheaper than buying something brand new. The article also gives us a great pro tip to check out repair cafes, which have tools and expert volunteers who can help you to fix things like furniture, coffee makers, and laptops. But overall, using this hack only happens once in a while, so that's why convenience is at a 2 and effectiveness is just at a 3. 9, use every scrap of food. Now this is one you can literally start doing today and it can make a real impact because for most people, food is a decent chunk of your budget. When I was reading this article, it was a little extreme for my taste, my literal taste, because they say to save your veggie scraps and peels to make vegetable broth or to save your strawberry tops for smoothies. And they also say instead of buying chips to turn your potato peels into your chips. Now I'm all for saving money, but I ain't making no strawberry stem smoothie. But who knows, maybe that'll be another video. What's shocking though is that according to the USDA, here in America, we waste around 30 to 40% of the food supply. So there is a lot of money that we are leaving on the table. So with this hack in particular, I would rate convenience at 4 stars and effectiveness at 4 stars. 10, turn the thermostat down. This one's pretty easy nowadays because most thermostats allow you to program them to set temperatures at certain intervals of the day. So when you're at work, your AC won't be working as hard, but when you get home, it might work a little bit harder. Being born and raised in Florida where it's really hot, those changes to your thermostat can actually make a pretty significant difference from $50 to $100 in your electric bill each month. So convenience 4, effectiveness 3. Hack 11, take shorter showers. All right, guys, this one I think is a little silly. We're talking about maybe saving like $5 to $10 a month, maybe. Like unless you're taking 1 hour or 2 hour showers, doing this hack probably won't change the needle that much. So convenience 2 and effectiveness 1. Sometimes you gotta pick your battles. Hack 12, buy quality, long-lasting clothes. That $50 pair of jeans might seem expensive right now until you realize you'll be able to wear those at least 200 times. And for sure, you could buy a $15 pair of pants in the clearance section, but if the quality is low, they're as thin as rice paper, and every time you pop a squat, you might have a chance of ripping a hole in them, then it won't be worth it when you have to pay to replace them a lot quicker than if you just got a quality pair earlier on. Convenience 5 stars, effectiveness 4 stars. For me, I've always bought cheap $5, $6 shirts, but they would always shrivel up and end up misshapen after getting washed and dried. But once I started switching over to more quality shirts and investing a little bit more money up front, like $20, $25 for a shirt, they've ended up lasting me way longer, leaving me feeling more confident while I wear them, and I don't have to worry about them getting damaged once they go through the washer and dryer. Hack 13, declutter your home. This one is huge, and it's not just for the money you can make from selling the stuff in your home. When you declutter, your mindset starts to shift, and you begin asking yourselves questions like, what do I actually need? And once you start questioning the items you own and the purchases you make, you'll realize how much random junk you have, and that mental shift can help you avoid buying more stuff that you don't need. As far as convenience goes, it is a little bit of a hassle to declutter, to host garage sales, or to sell stuff off Facebook Marketplace, or even to just donate to Goodwill, because I know you still have that bag of clothes still sitting in your trunk. So convenience, I'll put this at 3 stars, and effectiveness, 5 stars. Hack 14, hand make gifts and greeting cards. I wouldn't view this entirely as just a frugal savings hack, because honestly, the reason you're doing this is probably not because it's convenient for you, but because it probably has more meaning to the person you're giving the gift to. But at the same time, I do believe hand making things can be a lot cheaper, especially if you're just picking up items from the Dollar Tree or Hobby Lobby. That's why for this hack, I'll put convenience low at a 2 star and effectiveness still a 2 star as well. You're probably only saving a few bucks just by creating something on your own, and it's still gonna take a lot more time. Hack 15, bring your own lunch to work. Let's take some time here to slow clap to this one, because I think this is one of the greatest frugal hacks, and honestly, it shouldn't even be thought of as a frugal hack. It should be a way of life. On average, Americans spent $3,639 on dining out in 2023, so that's around $328 each month. I remember when I worked in an office, most of my coworkers would go out for lunch between 3 to 4 times a week, and in other settings, I know it's pretty common to get lunch every day of the work week. I'm looking at you, healthcare workers. So literally just by implementing this habit in your life, you'll save hundreds a month if you start bringing your own lunch to work every day. It's healthier, it's cheaper, and once you get in the routine, it's gonna take less time for you to make your own lunch than for you and your coworkers to decide on where you're gonna eat out. So for the first time, I'm putting this at 5 stars for convenience and 5 stars for effectiveness. This is an S tier frugal hack for all of you. Hack 16, ask for discounts and negotiate bills. Doing this is so underrated, because one 15-minute phone call to your internet provider could save you hundreds of dollars. And if you think about it, if you can cut 30 bucks a month off your bill, that's $360 a year for just 15 minutes of work. When you negotiate these regular bills, you are lowering your fixed reoccurring expenses every single month, which is one of the easiest low-lift ways to save money on a regular basis. So maybe while you're on your way home from work, or in the evenings or on weekends, call up that auto insurance provider, call up that internet service company, and try to negotiate your bills down. And of course, once a cycle has ended, be sure to shop around for other options, because there might be something cheaper and more affordable out there. That's gonna be more money in your pocket every month, so that's why convenience is at a 4 star and effectiveness is at a high 5 star. Hack 17, learn and hustle instead of TV. Although this one sounds like boomer advice, this one is so true, because while everyone is binge watching Netflix, you could be reading, listening to podcasts, or learning a new skill. By using your downtime a little bit more effectively, that can lead to more opportunities to increase your income and grow your net worth. Heck, I would even say going out to just hang out with other people is a lot more productive than just sitting at home and watching TV in your apartment. Because just by putting yourself out there more and being in the world, that will open up doors for you that you didn't know existed. Because here's some real talk for you guys. You can only save so much money until you come to a point where you just need to make more money, and that will speed up your financial freedom journey tenfold. So convenience for this hack is at a 5 star, and effectiveness is also at a 5 star. Hack number 18, travel like a local. I love this one. It's all about skipping out on the tourist traps and instead choosing to eat where the locals eat, to stay in neighborhoods instead of going straight to the downtown touristy hotels. I'm from Orlando, Florida, so when I would see people come to visit my city, they would always feel like they had to stay at a Disney resort, when in reality, you could have just chosen a hotel or an Airbnb 15 minutes away and rented a car, and you would have had to spend a lot less money for this trip. Another pro tip I would add to this frugal hack is to travel during the shoulder season. This is the season right between the off season and the peak season, where both flights and hotels are still a lot cheaper and things are starting to open back up, so you're not just visiting a town where everything's closed. My wife and I did that recently when we visited Greece, and we made a whole video about it that I'll put in the description. We literally saved on 2/3 of the cost by traveling during the shoulder season. So with that, convenience is at a 5-star and effectiveness is also at a 5-star. Hack 19, exercise for free. We're gonna end on a strong one here, pun intended. Look, I've got nothing against Planet Fitness or Gold's Gym, but it's not the only way to stay fit and healthy if that's your basic goal. Having a gym membership or paying for Pilates classes might not make sense for the season of life you're in right now, and that's okay. You can get there at a certain point, but if you're really trying to dig deep and save and get out of debt, then running is free, bodyweight exercises are also free, and YouTube workouts are definitely free. Plus, if your apartment complex or your neighborhood has a community gym, I bet you're not using it, so take advantage of that before you go ahead and sign up for a $200 CrossFit class. And yeah, I understand that paying for a class or a personal trainer can provide you some accountability, but you can also get that accountability for free. They got all kinds of run clubs out there, or maybe you just need to find a friend that also has a similar goal to you where you can both exercise together. So for this one, convenience is at a 5-star and effectiveness is also at a 5-star. Okay, now that we've covered them all, here are the top 5 hacks listed based off our rating system. But here's the thing. You could implement every single one of these frugal hacks and still never build real wealth. Because in order to reach financial freedom, that's gonna take more than just saving money. You have to be investing the money you're saving because that's what makes your money grow. Check out this video if you wanna see my simple investing plan to hit $1 million by the time I'm 35. Give it a click and I'll see you guys over there. Peace.